up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the RiOT Comedy Podcast, presented by RiOT. Shout out to RiOT Natural Spring Water, keeping us healthy and hydrated over here.
Hydration.
Thanks, y'all, for joining us. We've been doing a lot of NBA stuff lately. We're going to get into some NFL stuff for you all today.
Football.
Let's get to
Football, guys.
Football. It's always
Pigskin.
basketball with us. We're doing
Pigskin, as they call it. What kind of skin is a basketball made out of?
Cow skin.
Leather. Leather and such.
Traditional leather.
Leather and such. NFL weekend's over. As far as I'm concerned, there's no Monday Night Football game tonight because it's Bengals Cowboys. Holds no bearing on the season, everybody. So weekend's over. First and foremost, I think Josh Allen might have solidified his MVP race in a loss yesterday. As wild as that is, Saquon wins, Josh Allen loses. Josh Allen looks more like an MVP. Don't see that a lot. So it's all you can do when you go into Los Angeles and play them Rams, baby. Horns up. It's not for it. Some people are built different. Sure. Some people are built different. And Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, they're built different. Shout out Rams, baby. Big Rams fan over here. Still hunting. Still in the hunt, baby. Still in the hunt. Nose to the ground. Let's fucking go, baby.
Luckily, we're in the worst division. So, we may be able
to make something happen. Are we in the worst division? I think the AFC South has something to say about that, but we're close. It's arguable.
Yeah.
NFC South, also poopy. Would love to play in the NFC South against the Falcons and the Saints and the Bucks. Yeah. Who else is in that division? It's Bucks. Oh, Carolina. Would love to play in that division.
Yeah.
So, actually, if the Niners were pretty healthy right now and we're healthy the whole season, definitely not. But I think we just have a lot of, good teams, not great teams, duking it out. So, that usually tends to, a little bit above 500. We'll kind of see what we see. I'd also like to say that the Steelers, a little off topic, but the rest of their schedule this year is insanely difficult. They go to Philly, then to Baltimore, then they play Kansas City at home, and they play those 3 games in 10 days.
That's tough.
Ouch, dude. That's hurt. That's big hurt. Chiefs also play 3 games in 10 days. So just a wild thing that they're doing in the NFL, and the Chiefs also had their black magic working again. The doink win, the doink for the dub. How funny was that? We were on the couch. Well, not together. We were on our own couches on the phone. But it doesn't get any better than this.
All I could think was the same thing we think every week, which is my mind just goes to the Breaking Bad meme. He can't keep getting away with it.
Doug,
it's like we think every week.
So it's funny too because you watch all these NFL shows and there's a split decision of who's going to win the AFC. The AFC is really stacked. Any of these teams could lose first round to one of these other teams that's pretty solid, like the Chargers. And it's how do you pick anybody but the Chiefs?
I could see you taking the Bills. That's it. I don't think.
But for what reason? What reason have the Bills given you to say that they're going to go to the Super? What reason other than Josh Allen's having an MVP season? Lamar's got 2 MVPs, no Super Bowl appearances. At the end of the day, you're not
because eye test. The Bills look like a championship caliber team. They look like they love playing together. They look like they believe they can win. But I know that they're the Bills, and that's why I think they won't. Just from the history of their franchise in general.
I'm not even. I don't even think it's because they're the Bills.
My only pick to knock off the Chiefs.
The only thing is here's what matters the most in playoff is quarterback play and coaching. And every single team in the AFC is going to have a worse quarterback and a worse coach than the Chiefs. Now you can throw at me Rex Ryan today was talking about how Josh Allen's been the best player in football for 2 years. You can't say things like that. You can't just frivolously
that's absolute nonsense.
Get tired of watching Mahomes win Super Bowls and be like, well, Josh Allen, look at his numbers. Look at his numbers. Okay, good for numbers. We're all impressed by numbers. We're impressed by LaMelo Ball's numbers every night. What'd you say?
That's why they always get the MVP wrong. They just get tired of people.
But it's just you can give somebody else the MVP. I don't even care if you give somebody else the MVP, but quit saying that Josh Allen's better than Patrick Mahomes at anything other than rushing the football because he's not. So, but I think what we learned from this football weekend too is that good teams are good, bad teams are bad, and middle ground teams can win games. The season's pretty much laid out like we know who's good now. Finally in the NFL, we know who's good.
Yeah.
We know who's not good. Falcons suck. Unbelievable stat by Kirk Cousins. 4 games in a row, no touchdowns and at least 1 interception. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
he's going to the bench soon and
Um,
never starting again probably. I want to ask you a question about the AFC North.
yeah,
So a lot of that, the Steelers are what, 1 game up on the Ravens?
I believe so. I
No,
think the Ravens have 3
they're they're
losses. They have.
they're 2 games up on them. So it's 10-2
Okay,
Steelers, 8-5 Ravens. So that game in a couple weeks with the Steelers and the Ravens, that'll have huge implications on who wins that division. Do you
correct.
think the Steelers have, like we just talked about, super tough schedule going forward? Do you think the Steelers hold on and win that division?
Oh man, I think that they will because I think that they're in a situation being so many games ahead that like pretty much all you got to do is win 2 games. As long as you beat Baltimore, because you get Cincinnati the last week of the season. Hopefully you can rest your
Mhm.
guys then. Um, Kansas City's at home on Christmas, so I would like to think that you could maybe trap them into winning. Like you could trap the Chiefs into a loss in that
Mhm.
week, especially since it's also their 3rd game in 10 days. I think that if I'm the Steelers, I would probably not take the Eagles game super serious if it was me.
Yeah.
Just 3 games in 10 days is a lot, and we have bigger aspirations than winning games, than winning regular season football games. But I do think they hold on because I do think that Mike Tomlin's the best coach in that division. Um, which is wild considering that, like, not that wild that I say that, but Mike Tomlin's never won a Coach of the Year award, FYI, which seems absurd. But I think this year he'll probably get it for like the finagling with the quarterback and getting Justin Fields to start
Mhm.
4-2 and then bringing Russ in and winning all those games. I think that this is his year to get the Coach of the Year
Mhm.
award. Him or Dan Campbell should win it in my personal opinion. Uh
Yeah.
but yeah, so I think they hold on and win that division. I think that also the Ravens have shown this year that like a division title isn't that important to them.
Yeah.
Um and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the playoffs, but I do think that the Steelers hold on and win that division simply because Baltimore gives up 25 to 30 points a night, it seems like, where the Steelers can actually play defense. They can actually play defense.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think that that's why they win that division. I don't think that the Ravens will catch them. I mean, do you think the Ravens are going to pull ahead?
No, I don't. No,
Seems
and
very
and
unlikely.
from the biggest thing is for the one of the things you said about it doesn't seem to matter about winning the division. Um, and especially like the way the playoffs are now, with 7 teams, only the top team gets a bye. You It's
You ain't
impossible
getting the
to
bye.
catch the Chiefs. It's impossible to catch them. So who cares? Just make the playoffs.
That's how I feel too. I know that home field advantage in football is important, but like you got to win. You got to be able to win on the road. Chiefs won their last 2 games on the road. They beat you in Baltimore. They beat Buffalo in Buffalo. Like at the end of the day, if you can't win road playoff games, it's going to be tough to win a Super Bowl. Uh,
I've never watched a team that was a playoff championship team lose a game and think, wow, they would have won if they were at home. It's never happened.
no, no, definitely not. And it's one of those things too, where like sometimes you have bigger fish to fry. But I will say this about it though, that if you're the Ravens and you drop a couple more games and you go into the playoffs, that there's a chance out there that you're going to have to go to Pittsburgh week 1 or you're going to have to go to Buffalo week 1. And it'd
Hmm.
be a lot nicer if, say, you won a lot more games and the first game you had maybe like the Broncos at home or the Colts at home or the
Yeah.
Dolphins at home. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to beat these good teams regardless. And I don't think beating, let's say Indianapolis wins some games and you beat Indy in the first round. I don't think that that's indicative that like that you're good though, that you beat Indiana. Now it is nice though that if you don't play great in the first round of the postseason, that you get to play Denver or you get to play somebody like this. So I think that that does matter. But at the end of the day, like if you're actually this damn good, it doesn't matter who you play in the postseason. Go out there, get W's, and win a Super Bowl. So I don't. I don't think that this means that if the Steelers win the division that they're better than the Ravens. I don't think it means that the Steelers are going to go further than them in the playoffs. I don't think any of those things are true. So that's why I don't think it matters a ton. Um, Now I do think though that the Steelers have a better chance to go to the Super Bowl than the Ravens at the end of the day just because of defense and coaching. I do think that that's the case because I don't look at anybody on the Ravens and say, besides Lamar and like Derrick Henry, like their offense, like obviously your offense can win games, but there's not a single player on defense that you know about that's like this dude's a straight game wrecker. like your Aiden Hutchinson's on Detroit, even though he's hurt, and like T.J. Watt on the Steelers. Like I think T.J. Watt is what makes the Steelers better than the Ravens,
Yeah.
not necessarily a new offense that's shaking things up. I think it's the fact that, like, if that defense gets its claws sunk into you, you're going to score 17 points tonight. So,
Yeah.
but good for Russ making a comeback. I'm happy that he's going to get some more money after
If
this
something
year.
crazy like that happens, so you said the Steelers have a better chance to go to the Super Bowl. If the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, what does that actually mean about Russ's career, Sean Payton, etc., how everyone treated Russ? Is Sean Payton a fool? Can he not coach if that were
No,
to happen?
no, Sean Payton can coach. I mean, he's got Bo Nix looking real solid right now. I think that Sean Payton has to have a quarterback in his offense that understands what he wants to do. I'm the big kahuna here, and I need you to do
Yeah.
this. I don't want you to improvise. I want you to fucking throw the ball to these players that I tell you to throw the ball to, and if you do it, we'll win football games. And that is true.
Mhm.
That is true. But if you can't cater your offense to Russell Wilson the way the Steelers have, that does say something about you as a coach. However, though, I would never say that Sean Payton is a bad football coach. Now, is he the best coach in the
I would
NFL?
agree with
No.
I would agree with all that. I
But
would agree with all that.
I think what it shows too is like number one, Russell Wilson was hurt some. Number two, I don't think that those two's like relationship ever melded. I think it's easy
Yeah.
to get in Bo
Yeah.
Nix's ear and talk shit and say, "Look here, rookie, you motherfucker, like you're gonna fucking do this and you're gonna do that," and Bo Nix is gonna say, "Yes, sir, no problem. I watched Drew Brees as a kid.
Mhm.
I know what your offense can do." Russell Wilson's gonna
Yeah.
walk in there and be like, "Chill the fuck out, okay, motherfucker. Like I came here because y'all wanted me. Y'all wanted this Russell Wilson style football, and if you can't coach it, that's on you." Now, obviously, Russ is too nice of a guy to say that, and Russ took the high road on most of the situations with Sean Payton. But I just think it's a relationship that wasn't meant to be. I think Sean Payton's a good coach. Now, I do think that if Russell Wilson goes to the Super Bowl, it would make me happy because I think that there's a lot of people that talk shit on Russ for no reason. Like me and you,
Yeah.
especially on this podcast, like we've always stood up for Russell Wilson because we're Rams fans and we watch this dude play the Rams twice a year for fucking 12 years, 10 years. And I know what this brother can do, and he's a bad motherfucker. He is a bad motherfucker.
Good.
And when you look at Russell Wilson this year, any like passes from 15 yards or further passing this season, he has the highest completion percentage amongst quarterbacks. We saw what he did with Tyler Lockett all those years in
Not surprising.
Seattle.
Yeah.
It's not surprising. None of this is surprising to us. They went to the playoffs pretty much every year Russ was there, and Russ is a really, really good quarterback. Russ is a Hall of Famer. I think that some people put this Hall of Fame platform up a little bit too high. But if you're a top 10
Yeah.
quarterback in the NFL for 85% of your career, then by God, you're a Hall of Famer. It's the hardest position in sports,
Yeah.
and you're actually good at it for a decade plus. You're a Hall of Famer, dude. You're a Hall of
Yeah.
Famer. So,
Absolutely.
and I know you feel that way. We love Russ over here, dude. We like him. Like, we don't like him because we watched him on the Seahawks, but we respect that, brother, more than most.
Yeah, we respect him. Like I dislike this dude pretty much. It's one of those love hate things. Like I hate this dude because he plays for the Seahawks, but I have to like kind of like him, and I do respect him because
If I
he's
wasn't
so
a
good.
Rams fan, now go Seattle. That team was cool.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I said a lot of times when Russ was in Seattle, damn, I wish that dude played for us.
100%. 100%, dude.
Lots of times.
Lots of times, dude. So shout out Russ, dog, for like making a sick comeback because he kind of got dealt a bad hand like most teams in the NFL were like, do we want Russ? Do we not? It's like, if you're going to take a chance on a quarterback, you might as well take a chance on Russ, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, everybody wanted to take it. Like, a lot of teams said that they take a chance on Aaron Rodgers after an Achilles injury. Kirk Cousins just got $40 million, which is now the worst contract in the NFL since
Yeah.
Daniel Jones got cut. Now, I do think that they're doing Kirk Cousins a disservice in Atlanta. We won't get into that too much because they've lost 4 in a row and they're not a necessity. But I do think that I don't think that's all Kirk Cousins' fault. I think that their head coach, or not their head coach, because I like Raheem Morris and he's a defensive coach, but their offensive coordinator got some splaining to do. That's another discussion for another day. I can pinpoint so many things in that offense that are not fit for Kirk Cousins, which is ridiculous. But I guess we will talk about Kirk Cousins right now because I want to ask you, is it time to send his old ass to the bench and swallow that fucking contract since you have this rookie? And they're still in the race for the division.
Absolutely. I think yeah, it's time. Like let's well, I think it's tough to say. Like my heart tells me yes because it's like, okay, let's get this rookie in here. Let's put him in this situation where there's a tiny bit of pressure, but it doesn't matter. Like, okay, let's see if we can squeeze into the playoffs. That kind of pressure where no one expects anything out of us. We can, get you used to what's going on, start developing you better, put Kirk Cousins' old ass on the bench. The only thing that really sucks about that situation is, like you said, you got to eat that fucking contract, which is that's a lot. That's a lot for a
I,
bench player.
when that contract
But
came
I
out,
think
though, like I think that contract is pretty friendly for Kirk Cousins to not be there after 2 years, though. Like,
yeah,
all the money's pretty much guaranteed up front. If they cut him the third year of the deal, it's barely a dead cap hit. There's something in that contract like that I remember where it's like, if we need to ditch this guy, we fucking can. And if you have to cut him after the season and eat $35 million of dead cap next year, well, the good news is if your quarterback's decent and he's only making $8 million, like that's the average price for a good quarterback anyways, and you can still build a decent team. And and Bijan is still on a rookie deal, and you have some guys that are talented and young, so you can get around it. Like look what the Broncos are doing right now with the rookie quarterback, and their dead cap hit with Russ this year was like $42 million or some shit, highest in NFL history. And they're still playing decent. We went to the playoffs after we cut Todd Gurley, I think. No, we didn't. We finished 500 that year, but we had a dead cap of like 25. So weirder things can be done. And back on the quarterback discussion, I also want to ask you this because Sam Darnold has played really well this year. I think he has more passing touchdowns than Josh Allen this year, fewer interceptions than Patrick Mahomes, more passing yards than Lamar Jackson. Like weird stats like that this dude's been balling out. They have the second or third best record in the whole. They have the second or third best record in the whole NFL. I think I think they only have 2 losses. Like they're the third best record in the NFL. The Vikings. So if you're the Vikings, are like, because you don't. So there's certain teams in the NFL that when you watch them play, you're like, this, that, or the other. They might not be super good, whatever. But there's no such thing as a fluke 11-2 football team. That's a good football team. Do you pay? They're saying that he's going to get the Baker Mayfield contract, 3 years, $100 million is what they're anticipating Sam Darnold to get. Now, I've been saying that if he wants a Daniel Jones contract, 4 years, 160, even 3 years, 120, 125, I think you have to get J.J. McCarthy in there, the rookie that you drafted number 11th overall, and keep building a team around that. But 3 years, $100 million, are you considering that for Sam Darnold based on what he's done this year in that Kevin O'Connell offense, knowing that you can probably replicate it again? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how good this rookie is that they drafted, but if you can get a decent quarterback, like Sam Darnold's worth $100 million contract for 3 years.
I agree.
$33 million a year. Like, no, you count out the rookie. I don't know how good he is. He's been on the bench all year, but there's nobody available that's better than Sam Darnold.
Well, J.J. McCarthy, so he got hurt at the start of the season, torn ACL out for the year, but looked really good in the preseason. They were super high on this guy when camp was going on. They said he was learning really fast. And I think if there's something that we've learned from the 49ers is, God damn, you can build a good football team if your quarterback makes a couple $1 million a year. Damn, you can build it. Well, because obviously JJ is going to make more than Brock Purdy because he's not mystery relevant. His rookie contract picked in the top 15 as a quarterback, if I had to guess, is probably 20, 30 million bucks over 4 or 5 years. Over 4 years, maybe, maybe not that much, but 7, 8 million bucks a year towards the end of that contract, if I had to guess, which is still free for a quarterback. You have Daniel Jones now on that team. You could maybe sign him cheaply as a backup and kind of have those 2 guys in there. But when I heard the 3 years, 100 mil, I thought that was awfully low. I have a hard time believing that there's not a team out there willing to give him a little bit more than that. I think if you're the Vikings and he says, I like my situation, I like Minnesota, I'll take a little less money, which I don't think he'll do because this will be Sam Darnold's last chance to get a big contract in the NFL, in my personal opinion. He's already been in the NFL 4 or 5 years. He signs a 4-year deal. You're in there 9 years. You're 32, 33. He's not going to age super well. Probably he might, but from what we've seen so far, I don't think that's going to be the case, but it might. But I think 3 years, $100 million, I think if I can get him for that, I think I scoop him up. I think I do if I'm Minnesota, and I can, and there's nothing wrong with J.J. McCarthy learning for another year and then trading Sam Darnold or then trading J.J. McCarthy and getting an extra draft pick, anything like that. I think having more good quarterbacks than less good quarterbacks is always a good fucking thing. I think every team that's had multiple good quarterbacks will say it's a good thing. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think if it's 3 years, 100 mil, I think you sign him up. I think if it's 3 years, 120, that's 40 per. but only 100 million is guaranteed. I think I might still be willing to do it, but at the end of the day, I would probably roll with JJ if it's me. If I have to make the hard decision with Justin Jefferson making 30 million bucks, and maybe I want to get my defense a little bit more shored up, things like that, I think that you have to. I think you have to roll with JJ, but it's a good problem to have for them. But damn, it's hard to let it's going to be hard to let Sam Darnold go with the season he just had. I think it's hard.
It is for sure. But it's like, do you think he's a Super Bowl quarterback? And like you said, the 49ers have proven that you can build a really good team if your quarterback doesn't make a ton of money. The Seahawks were their very best whenever Russell Wilson was on his rookie contract still, and they won a Super Bowl and should have won
Right.
two. Like, they weren't paying that
So,
dude nothing.
do I think Sam Darnold is a Super Bowl quarterback? I think that depends on how much money he makes. That's what I think about Sam Darnold. He's one of those quarterbacks where, like, if you he's like, because I mean, I think that he's leaps and bounds better than Daniel Jones. Like, people can say what
For
they
sure.
want about Daniel Jones, whatever, man. He had a good year, whatever. But like, Sam Darnold has shown that he's significantly better than this guy. So like, if he gets Daniel Jones
Absolutely.
money, it's warranted. But I think that it depends on how much money he makes. Like, I think if you pay him 18 million bucks a year, 20 million bucks a year, I think that you can build a Super Bowl caliber team around him. Will you win the Super Bowl? I don't know, but I do think that he could be as good as Jared Goff if you keep developing him. And I wouldn't like Jared Goff makes 55 million bucks a year. That's too much for Jared Goff, in my opinion. I think that the Lions, this is their last chance to win a Super Bowl, and once that salary fully kicks in, it's going to be very tough with the Amon St. Brown contract. Hutchinson's got to get paid. But I do think the Vikings have a better chance to win the Super Bowl rolling with the rookie next year. And I think they have a better chance to win the Super Bowl next year with Sam Darnold, but I think their Super Bowl window is longer with J.J. McCarthy. And I don't think that they'll win a Super Bowl if they give Sam Darnold 40, anywhere from 40 to 50 mil. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl then. So it's going to be the same problem the Cowboys have, where like CeeDee Lamb and Dak make up 45% of your salary cap. I think Justin Jefferson's that dude. I think that he is. I mean, he's a top 5 wide receiver that I've ever seen play football. Like, I'd put him in the top 5 already. Maybe not top 5 actually. Now that I mention it, that I've seen play, like I'm talking about in their prime. Like, I saw Jerry Rice play on the Raiders. He ain't better than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, same. I don't remember watching Rice torch motherfuckers on.
So the only guys that I would honestly say that I've seen play the wide receiver position that are better than him is like Randy Moss, Antonio Brown. I don't think AB's a bad motherfucker whenever he was fully in his prime and healthy. Maybe OBJ, but like these are just people that maybe I would say. Like, I like Megatron a lot. I like Megatron.
Yeah.
I like Larry Fitzgerald. But are these guys actually better than Justin Jefferson at playing the wide receiver position? Probably not.
Right.
Probably not.
That's the thing is, like, the only clear cut, like, Randy Moss is the best wide receiver I've ever seen. He made everything look effortless. That dude was incredible. Even the rest of the dudes that I've seen, that like the great ones that come to mind, Megatron, Terrell Owens, Ocho Cinco, all these dudes, like, none of those dudes are clearly better than Justin Jefferson. He's absolutely, you can make a case that he's better than all those guys.
The only other player that I think that I've seen play wide receiver that I would say, like, in my opinion, is definitely better is D-Hop. D-Hop. I think D-Hop was a special talent. He never had a really good quarterback around him. You can say the same thing for Justin Jefferson, though. This dude's been balling with Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold, though. So that's just a personal opinion of mine.
That's the thing, man. Like, some of these dudes are just putting up crazy numbers with kind of regular dudes around them. So
and that's the thing. So Megatron had Stafford around for a long time, and like, Stafford's a baller. Everybody knows it. He's starting to get some appreciation. But at the end of the day, that's what I would say. And what I'd like to do before we end the podcast as well, because we have animations to do. It was sent over, so we have animating to do for today's episode. And we got to write tonight's episode. We might do a doubleheader.
We got a really good episode for y'all today. It's fantastic.
But there's a couple shout outs I'd like to do. I actually forgot one of them already, which is a shame. Like, I had it in my head. I should have wrote it down, but I forgot. It might come to me after my first shout out. But I'd like to shout out Brandon Miller, sophomore player for the Hornets. Not because he's like playing super great basketball or anything like that, but that dude's dunk last night was fucking ridiculous. This dude caught it in stride at the 3-point line, one dribble, jumped from the semicircle under the free throw line and fucking smashed it. So shout that out, dog. That's one of the better dunks I've seen in a long time in a game. Because like it's the best dunk I've seen in a long time that wasn't a facial. So shout that dude out. And then shout out the dude I wanted to shout out actually was Tua. Shout out Tua, man. Playing really good football after that concussion. Didn't want to be the poster boy for concussions. Didn't want people to look at him any differently. And he's shredded ever since. Like, ever since even he came back, they're still in the playoff hunt since he got back. Like, shout out Tua, dog. Great job on your part. So those are the couple shout outs that I want to give, man, because I like what Tua's been doing.
I want to give a shout out to Juan Soto for
Getting
that
rich,
big-ass
dog.
contract from the Mets. Like, I know that's a crazy amount of money to make for playing a sport, and it doesn't make any sense at all. And I know that there's a lot of people that are like, no man is worth that kind of money. And you know what? You're probably right. But
Not
if
to
you.
you.
Get somebody, if you can give somebody to give you $765 million to hit baseballs,
You're gonna
sign
do
your
it.
name on that fucking dotted line. So.
Well, here's
Like,
as far as I'm
my thing is,
concerned, dog. And this is like,
would you turn that? Like, no one would turn that down. So you
well,
can,
I
you can be
want
mad at players.
athletes. I want athletes to keep getting richer and richer, dog. Like, fuck these billionaires anyways. They can afford it. Like, these billionaires, like, build
Well, that's
generational
not what it's
wealth.
about. It doesn't come out of the billionaire's pocket. It comes out of our pockets. It comes out of the fans' pockets because that money is split on a percentage basis. So, well, actually, it's kind of different in baseball because there's no salary cap. So these billionaires can just.
There's a
spend whatever
salary
they want.
cap in baseball now.
Oh, that's right. There is a
But the
salary
thing
cap.
about it is like, it does come out of, like, our pockets technically because people make more money, all these things that kind of happen. But at the end of the day, dog, like, it does build generational wealth for other families. It does maneuver money around. Like, it's good for New York. It's good for a rivalry. And, like, not only that, dog, but like you said, man, get your fucking paper, dog. Get your fucking paper.
Dude.
Even if I don't
Get your
like it,
paper,
like,
man.
I've always said this, like, I knock Daniel Jones heavy, bro. Like, very few people knock
Shout
Daniel
out to
Jones.
Daniel Jones. If you can
But
get
shout
to the
out for
Giants
getting
and give
rich.
40 mil.
Shout out for getting rich. I'm happy for that motherfucker, dog. Like, there's guys out there that, like, do the same shit that we do, that are less talented than us. And it's obvious they're less talented than us because everybody tells them they're less talented than us. And they might make more money than us because they sold a TV show or they did something that we didn't do. And I'm still happy for those motherfuckers, man.
Absolutely.
I'm happy for people getting rich.
Get your money.
Get your fucking money, dog. And even if motherfuckers knock you, it's not like people only knock Daniel Jones because of his contract, because you make more than you're worth. If he was making $10 million a year, nobody'd give a shit. So, like, fuck what people say. Get your fucking money. Same thing, like cracking jokes on people. Like when I shouted out Jared McCain last week, dog, listen to Carmelo Anthony. Paint your nails if you want. Do you, boo-boo. Get your money and play basketball, motherfucker, and don't let people talk shit. We have to have something to talk about, and if people are talking about you, it's because there's something to talk about, and that's good for you, man. It's good for Daniel Jones to fucking be talked about. It's good for Jared McCain to be. It's good for these motherfuckers. So good for Juan Soto. Like, I'm with you, dog. Juan Soto.
Hey,
as soon as I heard the contract drop.
Jared McCain is also good. If he just we like to make fun of him for painting his nails and shit. But if he sucked ass and never played, we wouldn't talk about this dude.
No. And if you need to paint your nails to feel good about yourself, man, and go out there and hoop, paint those motherfuckers every color under the rainbow that you want, motherfucker. Bedazzle them. Do whatever you want, boo-boo.
Do you, dog?
Because I don't paint my nails, but I can't score 20 in an NBA game neither.
Nah, never.
So, like, at the end of the day, motherfucker, like, you better than me.
Neither one of us can score 20 in an NBA game no matter how many NBA games we played, no matter how many shots our teammates said. Take all the shots you want. It's like, you ain't scoring 20 no matter what.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. You've seen me out there. I get hot from behind the three-point line, motherfucker. I stroke it. I know. 0% chance that I score. Now, if you gave me every shot that whole game, I could get a bucket. I'll get you one.
I don't think so.
Oh, also, last thing I want to say before we end the podcast, because I have to animate. Yesterday, in the first half, the Bears had 4 total yards. They gave up 319. So, you fucking suck still, Chicago Bears. Not that I hate the Bears, but it's crazy to get outgained.
We knew they were gonna.
But you got outgained by 315 yards and a half? In a
Bears,
motherfucking half. Ichi, in a motherfucking half.
I get it, but this is a poverty franchise. This franchise has sucked ass always. Like they were good in the like as long as I've been watching football, the Bears have sucked ass. They were good for a few of the Brian Urlacher years. They went to one Super Bowl, and they have sucked ass ever
No
since.
reason. Nope. You got to give me double-digit yards. You got to be able to give me 10 yards and a half. You got to be able to give me 10 yards. You could
I'm
hand
not
me the
making an
ball.
excuse.
You
I'm
could
not saying
hand
it's
me the ball
excusable.
every possession in a first half, and I have a chance to get you fucking 4 to 7 yards and a half. I have a chance.
You will finish the half with negative yards.
Same good as 7. Same good. So we'll end it there. I'm gonna animate this episode real quick, and then we got to write here
y'all
shortly.
with us.
We'll holla at y'all. We'll have another podcast for y'all this week.
All right, stay up, everyone.
Peace.